Bloodstain, First Taste of Blood, Section 2. It's been a few years since I was bitten in the subway, lost my job, and ended up working as a butcher on night shift. I try to do what I can to keep to myself just so many people who think they rule the world. It's summertime right now, which means later hours. That's a plus for me. The boss gave me an apartment just upstairs, making it easy to get to work. Don't even have to worry about the light of day. If the owner is happy, I'm happy. Never said my name before, didn't think I needed to say it. You can call me Jared, and every day is Halloween for me. I see myself as a monster. Others see me as a butcher, only if they knew that I do this job to survive. If it wasn't for the blood of these animals, I may become something else. Here is my continued story. Two police officers walk into the shop. One lifts his hand up. "Hey Jared, need some steaks and ground beef for the wife." "No problem, Joe." "Mike, anything for you?" "Nah, I'm good. Still have some good cuts from the other day thanks to you, Jared." The two officers start to talk among each other as Jared overhears the conversation. "Joe, come on man, vampires in New York. Little far-fetched, don't you think? You weren't there to see the victim. He had little to no blood in him. Top it all off, his jugular was cut clean through. Well, now it looks as if there is a wild animal loose in New York. Lions, tigers, and bears. Just a different type of jungle." Joe turns to Jared. "What time do you get out of here?" "Normally around 4 a.m. Is something going on? Just be careful out there when you walk home. The streets are dangerous. If you see anything, hide and call 911. "Got it. I don't need anything happening to my favorite butcher." "Thanks, Joe. I really mean that. But I live right upstairs." Jared wrapped up the cuts and handed them to Joe, telling him, "Tonight, it's on the house. Just don't tell my boss." "Thanks, Jared. You know we got your back." "Hey, I didn't get any cuts. That's because you didn't order any." "Oh yeah, that's right. Mike, I will take care of you in the next round." "Thanks, Jared." Mike turned to Joe as they walked out the door. "Man, I knew I liked that kid for some reason." Jared thought to himself, the night has its strange creatures, but this was too obvious. This was another one like me. Jared closed the shop a little earlier than normal and started to walk towards the block the officers were talking about. Jared stood in the alley looking around him. He could see the shadowed imprint of what happened. A dark figure walks down the street. The victim pulls a gun, telling the man in dark clothing, "In the alley now." "Calm down. I'm just out for a bite to eat." "I don't care what you're out here for. Just give me what you got. I may leave you a little for a hot dog." "I don't think you understand. I don't eat hot dogs." The dark-dressed figure shows his face, pale as a full moon, rows of razor-sharp teeth. The would-be robber points his gun and shoots several rounds. "Noah!" Jared opens his eyes. He was here. I sensed his presence. I didn't know I could do that. Now how do I find the one who did this? Meanwhile, in a different part of town, another victim is claimed. Jared laid in his bed, staring at the ceiling. Visions started to appear. This time, a man with a knife ended up a victim. If this doesn't stop, it's going to bring a lot of media attention. That evening at the butchery, Officer Mike comes in. "Hey kid, can you help me out? The wife has some friends coming over for a cookout this weekend. I could use a nice selection, and I only have $115. Can you help?" "Sure, Mike. By the way, where's Joe tonight?" They split everyone up to cover more ground. "We had another death yesterday. Damn, I shouldn't be telling you this, but since we all like you, I should let you know. So far there has been 3 people killed. All 3 are wanted criminals. But what happens when whoever is doing this decided to go after a citizen?" Jared asked, "Is this some kind of vigilante you're looking for? If that was the case, I'd let whoever it was keep doing it, but still murder is murder." "Yeah, I get your point. Here you go." Mike added an extra 4 pounds of ground beef and 3 cuts. "Kid, you're a lifesaver. Thanks." The officer walks out of the shop and waves off to Jared. It's going to take more than the police to find this. Just a matter of time before he kills the wrong person. Sunday evening was the one night the shop closed. Jared's only night to feel human, but not tonight. Jared goes lurking from street to street in the hopes of triggering his mental abilities. A few hours later, Jared walked into a scene he didn't expect. A twisted, beaten, battered body located just in the mouth of the alley, but was not drained like the others. Jared pulled out his cell phone to call officers Joe and Mike to help throw off suspicion from himself, with a bit of an act telling the officers. I was just out for a night of fun and ran into this horrific view. Giving his location to Joe and Mike, it didn't take too long for them both to pull up. "Kid, are you good?" yells out Mike. Jared giving a look of being sick. "Yes, just there." Joe pulled out his flashlight. A look of shock from both officers. Mike cries out, "What the hell could have done this?" Joe shakes his head, replying, "This was not an animal, at least not the kind we know of. This guy was able to get shots off on it, but still he couldn't escape the clutches of the creature. Look here," pointing out drag marks of blood, and he was lifted here against this wall. That wasn't the strangest part. His heart was still beating. He was still alive. Mike calls for emergency medics to come and get this man before he could pass on. Joe turns to Jared. "Look, I know you had nothing to do with this. We're going to write up a report. We'll stop down at the shop and get you to sign it. Is that fine?" "Sure, officer. Anything." Jared walks off, confused. Why didn't I sense whoever was doing this? Can they block me? Or worse, could they be hunting me? Elsewhere, not far from Jared's location, a strange man in a long, dark coat, dark hat and gloves hissing at anyone who came near him, bumps into a powerlifter. "Dude, like watch where you are going, man. Lucky I'm a nice guy." "Nice guy? How tough do you think you are?" "Man, I don't know what your issue is." His demeanor changes. The strong guy turns to him. Sarcastically, he said, "Well, what, little man? I don't want to hurt you, big boy, but you're asking for it." The whole outlook of the stranger changed. His fingers, teeth, arms, and body started to grow right before the bodybuilder's eyes. He turns and speaks to him in a demonic voice.
"Now what, little man?"
The bodybuilder could only say, "Oh shit!" as he was lifted and pulled into an alley screaming. Early that morning, another police line was set up in the alley. Blood covered the walls and street. The body found torn apart everywhere. Never was there a scene like this. Mike turns to a fellow officer. "Have you seen Joe anywhere this morning?" "No, sir, I haven't seen him since last night." Whereas in the city, Officer Joe sits just outside the butcher shop waiting for Jared to close. Jared steps out into the night and notices Joe across the street and goes to greet him. "Officer Joe, what brings you down here so early in the morning?" Joe looks up to the kid with a smile. "Jared, my boy, I have known you for 3 years now, kiddo. Do you remember that night where that man tried to rob you?" "Yes, I know. I never told you, but the speed and the way you took him down, how he ran out of there so quickly. I wanted to know what you told him to turn himself in." Jared looks at Joe with no surprise. "Now you know my secret. Am I to be arrested?" "No, I do not believe you would harm anyone, but I do think you can help find the one responsible for these murders. If you agree to help, I'll tell you everything I know and where to go. No need to give me locations. I can sense him when he's angered. Other than that, I wouldn't try going after him without me. Does Mike know by any chance?" "I wouldn't even know how to explain it to him. Here," handing Jared a small two-way radio. "If you get that feeling, call me. I don't want you going in alone, all right, kid?" Few days pass without any incidents. Jared continues to work his job. The shop owner comes out from the back room and starts to talk to Jared with concern for his well-being. "Hey, kiddo, why don't we close up shop a little early tonight? I'd like to take you to meet some good friends." "Well, my shop's investors, to be honest. They have been very impressed with our work here. They would like to open another shop uptown near 5th Avenue. For me, this is exciting news. I just hope the same for you, because you would be in charge of it. Even comes with an apartment as well." Jared with excitement. "Wow, me? I don't know what to say. This is great news." "Well, you can start by saying yes. It would be an honor. This is great news." At 10 o'clock that evening, Jared closes the shop and meets up with the owner, Mr. Gardwell. After drinking and enjoying an evening that Jared has not had in a long time, that feeling started to come about him. "Excuse me for a few moments, everyone. I'll be right back." Jared goes into a room that no one was in and pulls out the small two-way radio that was given to him by Officer Joe. "Joe, come in." Mike, sitting in the car, waiting for Joe to come back from getting coffee, looks down as he hears the radio, picking it up and talking into it. "Who is this?" Jared, isn't this Joe? It's Mike, Joe's partner. What's going on, kid? Just then, Joe opens the car door. Give me that, Mike. Yeah, Joe here, kid, what's going on? You told me to call you when I had that feeling. Whatever it is, it's not far from here. What's your 20? Paris Inn on 5th Avenue with Mr. Gardwell. Meet us out front. Will do. Mike, looking confused, asked Joe, why the kid, little young to do anything? Mike, just don't ask. There are things going on you couldn't understand. He's coming for our protection. Joe, I hope you know what you're doing. The officers pull up as Jared jumps in and Joe turns to him. Which way, kid? Jared points up a street. 6 blocks to the left. My head is starting to hurt. Whoever it is, they're at full rage. Mike starts to yell out, what is going on? Jared looks over to Mike. Joe, he doesn't know, does he? Look, kid, I promised I wouldn't tell anyone. That's up to you. Jared starts to explain. Look, I'm a vampire, not like the ones in the movies. I survive on the blood from the butcher shop. Is it true that sunlight can kill you? No, not at all. Harder to see, almost like a whiteout. My sense of smell, speed, strength, and sight is heightened much more than a regular human. Officer Joe has known of this for 3 years, but never said anything till last week. Here we are. What the hell? Joe, Mike, and Jared couldn't believe what they were seeing. This thing was 7 feet tall, dressed in black, and covered in blood. It turned to look at the 3 of them in the police cruiser, large, sharpened teeth, and the face of a demon. Kid, I hope you don't look like that. Mike opens his door and points his gun, yelling, hold it right there! Don't move or I'll shoot. Before Joe could even open his door, Mike was lifted off the ground, and the creature tossed him like a rag doll into a dumpster. Joe opened the back door before. Just then, Joe was picked up and held up high. All Joe could do was scream. Jared's facial demeanor completely changed from fear to anger. Jared kicks the door open, causing it to smash against the wall in the alley. This got the attention of the creature. Just one word came from it.
You.
Joe at high speed lunged, punching the creature in the chest as he fell back. Jared caught Joe, setting him down. Stay here, I've got this. Jared sensed the creature coming at him from behind and quickly turned to his side, grabbing it by the neck.
Why protect these bottle feeders? They carry our lifeline in them.
You're wrong. I never took a human life and never will. Throwing the creature against the wall with such force, its bones could be heard breaking. The creature starts to scream in agony. Slowly it stands up, holding its chest.
Once you kill me, you become the very thing you dread. A night creature like me.
The creature slowly walks towards Jared, who is thinking about what he said. 2 shots rang out, one to the head and the other to the heart. Jared turns to see Joe with his weapon drawn and yells out, Bet you didn't count on the kid having backup. As he gets back to his feet, the creature tries to move forward, but the wounds it suffered from Jared were too much for it. After being shot by Joe, its life force was completely weakened. Then it falls to the ground. It looks up at Jared.
I don't want to die from the hand of a human. I'd rather be killed by you.
Jared looks down and tells him, I'm not a monster like you, and as I said before, I won't take a life. Joe stands next to Jared. I don't like to take a life either, but I think this thing is done. Joe held his gun to the creature. The kid's hands are clean, but you're not doing any more killings in my city. Pulling the trigger one last time. Joe places his hand on Jared's shoulder. You okay, kid? Jared turns to Joe. You're kidding me, right? Question is, are you okay? I'm fine. Could you help me get Mike out of that dumpster? Jared chuckled. Yeah, I got you. By the way, we have a new shop opening on 5th Avenue. Great, that's a lot closer to my house, not so out of the way. By the way, thank you for doing that. I can hurt it, but I wouldn't have been able to kill it. I know, kid. That's why I got your back.